Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for clicking on it, and please make sure you do hit that like and that subscribe button, and really help out the channel. So today what I have in store is I'm gonna be fixing my whole rear end situation. If you don't know, S550s from factory come with the issue with the whole rear end, and since now that I have a nice little spinny boy, I'm gonna have issues of gripping. So just to let you guys know, factory, these things come with a -1 degree of camber, which it's kind of in the neutral point of turning and kind of going in a straight line. But also that means that your tire is not touching the ground at 100%. For example, here goes a tire from my current setup, which as you guys can kind of see has like a weird warpage, especially on the inside because it's rubbing more. So more contact is being done on the middle of my tire than the whole majority of it. Usually these cars don't have that big of a difference, but since my car is obviously lowered and I have that tire off, but since it's lowered, your camber increases. Like right now, when I took it to go get it aligned previously, my car was registering a -2.2 and -2.1 on the other side, which since I want to go in a straight line, that does not help at all. There's no point. If you track your car like autocross, yeah, do it, but for straight line action, horrible. As you can see, again, literally like only half of my tire is touching. So I want to fix that. So a lot of people go the expensive route of getting the Steedo camber adjustment plates, well, arm. So when I was searching online, I found a BMR who sells a much cheaper option. Here goes a whole little like kit that they sell. It's like 59 bucks. So what it is you loosen up your camber arm and you put this in place. It bolts up right on the top, and then see these little ridges? It allows you to kick out your camber out and in, which allows you to have negative and positive camber. And from what I've read, if you max these out all the way, negative or positive 1.4 degrees. So since I have 2.1 and 2.2, if I max this out all the way, it's gonna get me much closer to almost full contact, which that's what I want. So this beats going down the Steedo route and dropping like 300 bucks. This is a lot cheaper. This thing's a quick install from what I've read so far. Like all I'm gonna be needing is a 10mm Allen head, a 15mm socket, and an 18mm socket. So it's not that complicated. Just loosen them up, put this in, take its place, and I'm gonna max these out on the positive end to get rid of my negative camber. So let's go do that, and let's get the ball rolling. For those who aren't aware, Mustangs from factory don't have the ability to adjust their camber. They're able to adjust their toe, which is like somewhere down here. I don't know a lot about suspension, so it's somewhere down there. What adjusts the camber is this arm right here. As you guys can kind of see, it's a whole solid piece, whereas with the Steedo, it comes with like the center like option right here where you can adjust it. So what I'm gonna be doing is hitting these two bolts, well, one bolt, a nut, and then the bolt over there. Hitting this, hitting it down, and then putting this in its place, like right there. And it has two bolts right here, of course, to keep this thing steady. And then you do use your factory bolt for the camber arm. And yeah, it's a pretty straight through modification. It shouldn't take me that long, but let me loosen these up and show you guys the whole process. Okay, for display purposes, what I did, I went ahead and I took the whole camber arm out, well, upper control arm, whatever the hell you want to call this again. So for display purposes, I took the whole thing out, and it's not that hard. It's just 18 and a 15. This portion right here, it's easy. You just knock it out in like a minute. So this right here is the front portion. This goes like that, this arm going the closest to the diff. So this is how it's supposed to go. So of course, again, you use the factory nut itself, and I have it on the most inner one, which is gonna add positive camber, but I kind of have this thing all messed up. So let me push it back out. Okay, so this is how it's basically gonna be set up. You use the factory bolt, and it goes through the two little notches, well, there goes everything. The most inner one, which was like how you saw moments ago before the bolt freaking fell out, right here, that's gonna add the more negative camber, which of course I don't want. So I'm gonna want it kicking out as much as right here. I want it to be maxing it out, and that's basically all it is. This install doesn't look that hard. I'm already like only 20 minutes in, and I'm already gonna be assembling this, so again, it's real quick and simple. And yeah, depending on your setup, if you want to add more negative camber, set it right here. If you want to add more positive, set it over here. Which, if you're lower and you like going in a straight line, I recommend more positive camber than negative camber if you're looking for some straight line action and improving your traction. And also, from what I've read, this also improves your wheel hop because you have more surface area of the tire that's making more contact to the floor, which, boom, more traction. So yeah, let's get her set up. Let's put the bolt that keeps falling out back in, and let's get to the situation. And this kit does give you bolts, and the instructions tell you which ones to use. And the purpose of this is to help you align it, which is this top nut, which there's already a hole open on your IRS subframe, which it fits perfectly. BMR really like hooked it up. For the people out there worried about, oh, it won't handle the supercharged car, BMR also has the option of a second hole, which is rated for 1,000 horsepower rating. So if you just have a supercharger with only like one size down pulley, you got nothing to worry about. And the average person, the average Mustang owner out there that's boosted, is not pushing 1,000 horsepower. So I'm just going to be using one because the second one does require you dropping the subframe and drilling out a second hole. But again, I'm not going to be making anywhere near 1,000 horsepower. So as of right now, I don't have to worry about the second hole. I just have to worry about the first one. They supply you the bolts, so let me put those all in, and then I'll be done with this side, and then time to go to the next. It's a quick, easy mod. It's not expensive like the Steedas, but it's definitely going to make an improvement. Okay, so I have the bracket now installed. I don't know if you can kind of see it, just chilling right up in there. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it was a little difficult. By difficult, like the bolt went in easily. I was able to do it by hand, but the moment the bolt started going around the nylon, it got hard, which of course you needed something to tighten it up more. So I tried every type of socket, wouldn't work. I was kind of getting creative. I just was trying to find an easier way to do it, you know, but just had to man it out and had to get just 2 wrenches, both 14, and just had to tighten them up real slow. So that was the only issue. If you're going to be doing it, sockets do not work. I tried every single type of socket, unless you can get creative enough and just try doing it. But again, I am Mickey Mouse Motorsports and I couldn't even do it. That's kind of my thing. But yeah, so just had to tough it out with 2 wrenches on the bottom, on the lower and bottom portion, and it went in pretty smooth. So tightened it up. One thing I did notice when I was doing my display is that I used the factory bolt for the part that goes to the bracket itself. I was wrong. They supply you with a bolt, which you're gonna need a hex, which is a T55. So it fits perfectly on. Just gotta tighten that up. My bad. When I read ahead, you use the factory bolt for the portion that connects to the hub itself, which of course is this one. So the portion that connects to the bracket, use the supplied bolt. So that's the only thing I got to throw in there. Let me just tighten it up, get everything all situated, and we should be done with this side. Okay, so I finally have everything kind of buttoned up. Everything's torqued down to the proper specifications in the instruction sheet that BMR does supply you. If you have an air gun, you know, just do a little, do 2 of those, if you know what I mean. But yeah, everything's torqued down. They have a little bit of a Loctite in there. You know, you can never go wrong with Loctite, especially when it comes to suspension stuff. So this side's done up. It's been about like, I don't know, 40 minutes. It's a pretty quick install. So now I just got to slap the tire back on. Yeah, and to put on this bolt right here, I did have to kind of put my legs on it and push some weight downward to kind of allow this thing to kick out more so I can get the bolt straight through. So that was the only little method I'll kind of advise you guys to do, is when it comes to putting this bolt, since I did kick it out a whole lot, this thing wouldn't slide in. So put a foot there or someone else and just kind of wiggle it down or put some weight and it would slide straight through. And that right there kind of told me that this thing is getting kicked out a lot. So that's what I want. Now it's time to go move on to the other side. Hey guys, so a good amount of time has actually passed. The driver's side took me a lot longer than I thought. It took me about like an hour 20. Because the bolt that BMR supplies, which is the T55, on this side, it has like a bracket. So it took me a while to be able to even feed that thing into the nut itself to give me the ability to actually tighten it up. So what I ended up doing was I made like a 2-foot extension out of it. And I ran it from the back of the exhaust all the way to the front. Well, not front, but where the tire is. So I had to do that And then once I figured it out, tightened it up, went easy. But majority of the time that it took me to get it in was me trying to figure out how in the world was I even going to tighten it. So that took the longest, but as of right now, everything's put together. And then for those like S550 owners, you guys know the issue of trying to get this thing to fit nice and flush. Well, maxing this thing out, look, it fits almost flush with no spacers, nothing. So, look, almost full contact. And then on my previous setup, if you were to look at it, just how I'm doing it right now, you would kind of see it tilted in a little, which kind of sucked, but this looks like a huge improvement. It's not bulging out at the top, which means that there's still negative camber. See how it's still kind of going in on this side, which is a good thing, you know. That really helps out with the whole turning situation. So yeah, it's an improvement. Okay, now that my camera's mostly fixed, and I won't really know until like actually put it on a machine and they can tell me, but for the most part, by looking at it, I kind of like how it looks. So I'm gonna see how it wears. I'm gonna need some new tires, and then for those who saw my previous video, I did fix the tire, so she's good to go. But other than that, I'm done with the install. But luckily there's a meet tonight, so I'm gonna be going to that, and it's in my local city, so let's go out and check it out.